Hello everybody, this is Lucas from the Gretsch family. I'm a 5th generation member of the Gretsch family, and this year we're in Frankfurt and Musikmesse 2018, and we're celebrating our 135th anniversary with the Gretsch drums. And this year we're sitting here with Karl Brazil, who's currently playing with Robbie Williams, and just hanging out, really, taking a break from all the madness of the Musikmesse.
Yeah, this is quite a find. I didn't realise this place was here. I've only been coming 4 years.
Yeah, only 4 years?
4 years.
Yeah.
You found a park with waterfalls and birds. But,
I love your setup. It's very unique. You know, what is that? A 20 and a 24?
I still use 2024 now. It's a 22 and 24 broadcast by 14.
Right. And you got the 13-inch in the middle.
13-inch rack, 16th floor, and then I've got a 20-inch gong drum, which is why the kicks change size.
Cool.
Which is on legs. Apparently one of the first one on legs. I don't know if that's true. It's a techie question. But then I've got broadcaster snare, 14 by 5.5, and 14 by 5 chrome over hammered brass on the left. So I mean, I was saying yesterday, I'm covering 20 years of music when I do Robbie's show. So I've got to have different sounds. You
got to switch
to hand. So the double kick doesn't mean I'm going to go tick 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 tick.
No,
it's there for funky verses, and then I can crash into.
Right. So you hit the 22 and the verse, and then the 24 on the chorus.
That's right.
Boom it up.
Yeah. Or sometimes I'll stay on that 22 if it's rock DJ,
cool
all the way through,
cool
or I'll stay on the big one. It just depends what the song is. Then I've got my pad set up on the left.
Right. So you're playing with the SPDSX to access samples from recordings.
With the mesh heads on the left. I've just got two, so I can have, for example, if we did the Bodies tracks, Trevor Horn tune that he produced. Got the original samples, Rock DJ, Candy. I have all those rigged up. Sometimes I'll trigger the 22 kick with a D drum trigger.
Nice.
Or the left snare. So
and send a signal out.
Yeah. So there's a lot of patch changes and a lot of stuff going on.
Is that your tech Fred doing that?
He is, yeah.
Okay, so he's doing all the triggering and the patching.
He does all the changes behind me, which is fantastic.
Or under you, isn't he underneath you sometimes?
He is. Yeah. I mean, he's pretty small.
Yeah. Yeah, he's great. I've spent some
Fred.
time talking to him, and he's
a great guy. He's very,
intense.
very particular about what he does, and likes to make sure everything's right. So he's actually designed with the DW frame. He designed a rack that you can't see from the front. Comes up underneath, so there's no freestand. Everything's freestanding. There's no stands for cymbals. Yeah, and the snares are just freestanding as well, so you can move your feet around easy underneath.
Okay, wow, cool.
So the DW hardware is a big important factor, especially the pedal side of thing.
Cool. So go ahead.
Then we got Remo, Vic Firth, and Roland.
We don't care about this.
Porter and Davis still.
So do you have like endorsement deals with all those other Vic Firth and?
Yeah. I have to say the support I get is phenomenal. So
cool.
Thank you to all of you that look after me and make me feel very well looked after.
And so, growing up, who were your guys?
Okay, I was asked this question yesterday, and I felt I hate, putting them in a list.
Right.
Because it changes over time.
Right.
There's some great drummers around, and they come to your attention at different stages of life. But my father, when I was young around the house, and he had a great record player, Jeff Beccaro, ended up spinning mostly, whether it was with Toto or Fool's Gold he used to play with, Steely Dan. He was the drummer that I was listening to a lot. Super.
But I've also heard you mention Phil Gould.
Loads.
Who's one of my favorite guys, actually.
Me too.
Because
me and Gary Wallace last night sat having dinner at the Remo thing, and we ended up tapping out some of Phil Gould's drum fills on the table. Yeah. So Phil, it was a massive influence. I'll tell you why. Boom, boom, boom. It's just really thought about, like Jeff Beccaro. The fills are thought about. It's very musical, very well put together, and his feel is so laid back.
Left hand,
which I'm left-handed and left-footed, but I can play like that. But it's easy this way. But watching Phil do live at Wembley when he had the cymbals that were
with that big recording,
it was almost like he was bouncing around the kit. So I'd love to see Phil on the dance floor. I reckon he can move.
Yeah, that's video.
And Phil just did things that made me excited, like going into the chorus of Hot Water. He's cut it off. Just taste and feel, and I just know he's playing if I hear it. So
it'd be so interesting to talk to. I know you talked to him a couple times. It'd be cool to hear like how much him and Mark King were feeding off of each other with the ideas.
I think it was massive back then, because I think Phil. I'm not. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Phil arranged a lot of stuff, and he's a very musical guy. He's done a new track, wasn't it? It's been out a while now, but it's called Colour of My Pain. I asked him to send me, check it out, it's really good. But here's the thing for you. I mentioned Phil in an interview, and somehow we got in touch. And when I spoke to Phil on the phone, listening to all my life, I was just delighted to.
Yeah, I heard that story where he called you up and you're like, what?
Yeah, well, I actually had a towel. He doesn't know this. I had a towel around me.
Yeah.
I was in Cannes, just getting out of the shower to do something with James Blunt. And he said, it's Phil Gould. And I just went like this, and the towel fell off. So there I was speaking to Phil Gould naked. Sorry, Phil. Yeah. I've never told you that. But since then, we're good mates. I've been around. We've hung out. We've done the gig together in London, down in Woolwich. And I need to see him. It's been a while, but we keep in touch. And he's right up there as one of my big influences. So, and you can clearly see why he's tasty player.
I just also, in the 80s, everything was so visual, and like he had those cool circular glasses and just that cool haircut, and he's just such a cool visual drummer in his open style.
He just had personality.
Yeah,
he had
just looked so
expressive,
cool.
But also he had the playing to back
wearing
it up.
overalls and stuff, just badass, total badass.
Yeah, total badass. And then I should mention, obviously Jeff Porcaro was a massive influence, the tasty player. I love Phil Rudd, AC/DC.
Yeah.
Just a Phil guy again, lays it down. I don't know how he smokes cigarettes and plays at the same time, but good work. Yeah. There's a guy I should always mention, because as a kid, my father's Irish and introduced me to Celtic style of music, and because of that, I came across a band called Stockton's Wing and a drummer called Fran Breen.
Okay, wait, what's the name of the band?
Stockton's Wing. They're a Celtic sort of fusion funky band. Yeah. Fiddle, banjo, flute, bass, keys, guitar, Fran Breen on drums. So I seen this guy play when I was a little kid, and again, his expression and his feel and everything. He went on to play with Nancy Griffiths. And
so he's just playing a normal drum set? I think Celtic drumming is maybe...
No, it was normal. He's very, very rudimental, very just great feel again, and a personality behind the kit that I admired. He played on the Commitments album, so Commitments from the film, Volume 1, Mustang Sally, He'd Take Me to the River, with that beautiful snare drum, which I now own apparently. He's going to give that to me.
Oh yeah?
I don't know.
The same way I'm going to give you this, or like for real?
No, well, tip of the hat to Fran, Phil Gould, Phil Rudd, Jeff Porcaro, John Robinson, Jimmy Copley, who we passed away last year.
Jimmy Copley.
Played, just Google Jimmy Copley. I seen him play with Go West when I was a kid.
Okay.
He's played with Paul Rodgers and Tears for Fears, but another open-handed player.
Yeah.
Another great open-handed player. And then you've got your buddy Rich, you've got Alvin Jones, Michael Bland, a drummer who was on here last year blew me away was Chris Coleman. Great player.
He was here at the Musikmesse?
Played Musikmesse last year. Yeah. Then that guy grooves, my God, and when he wants to shred, unbelievable. So many great players out there, inspirational players, but as a kid, the people that sort of contributed to what I've become today, or whatever that is, I have to tip the hat to the first guys I mentioned, and that's a very important part of my makeup.
When someone looks into you and your career right now, I mean, they see, sort of a high-flying drummer and touring and busy a lot.
I've never been called that before.
A high-flying drummer?
High-flying drummer.
That's Felix, actually. He's the high-flying drummer. No, but my question is, were there ever rough patches in your career? Yeah. Where the part you wouldn't want other people to necessarily see?
I like your questions. No one's asked me that before, but it wasn't about getting a gig. It was about opportunities. I remember driving my dad nuts saying, well, I've been on tour with Bitty McLean, we've done where, and I'm back home now, and I'm under your feet, I'm living with mum and dad. And
you were back with your parents after playing those big shows?
And I was like, what do I do, Dad? And he was like, what do you want me to do? And he rang a couple of his job. He rang some mates up, and I went back into the music shop for a bit, and then I played around Birmingham with Ruby Turner and Trevor Burton doing some blues, and there's a Birmingham scene, but I kind of needed to get down to London where the new pop stuff was happening if I wanted to get onto a tour. So I auditioned for a few things, and then one thing happened through a few friends in Birmingham. I ended up playing for the winner of Pop Idol.
Cool.
And he's a lovely guy, and that Darius Dinesh, the gig after that, one thing led to another, and it snowballed, and I was so fortunate to meet Steve Lillywhite, Pete Glenister, and lots of people that moved me on forward to do other gigs, and one thing just led to another. And that's, I always say to any young drummer, or somebody asked me in an interview the other day, how do you get to be doing what you're doing. It's the same question you could ask Ash or any other session drummer. There's no strategy or no golden ticket.
It's random.
You get your opportunities if you play, and if you throw yourself in the deep end and you get on with people, you'll be all right. You'll get your shots. But you can't guarantee that any gig you've got is going to last forever. That's for sure. Yeah. And I feel sorry for some artists in that respect, because it's just like being a drummer and having a gig and then it stops. And, you know, if you stop selling records, or for one reason or other you're not happening for a bit, then it's you have to take it on the chin. But there's luckily for us musicians, there's always stuff to do. And, it's about getting out there.
There's so much you can't control, is what you're saying. So you got to just push on every front.
Who's to say in 2 years from now? Who knows what I'll be
back in your folks' house.
Well,
Dad, what should I do?
I promise I won't do that to him. I promise.
So when you were a kid, you were listening to records, playing drums, playing along with records, and imagining playing in front of 50,000 people.
How did you know that?
I don't know. I just had a feeling that happened. And,
well, that's exactly what I did actually.
Right. So you were doing that, and then here we are, several years later, and it's actually happening as a reality. My question to you is, that's a perfect example of visualization.
Well, yeah, I've got a massive imagination, just like my son. Actually, I used to look out the window at school, or whenever I put a Walkman on. Funny enough, I remember being on holiday in Mallorca with Mum and Dad sitting on a coach going from the airport to the hotel, and I had the best of Level 42 on. Listening to another ballad actually. What was it? I won't be here when you come home. It's over.
It's over. Yeah.
Yeah, very sort of dreamy, theatrical thinking.
Very sad song.
Yeah, it was.
I remember breaking up with my girlfriend. I was probably 12 or something.
Here's a thing, right? So it was Walkman and cassette tapes back then. So
Sony, the yellow Sony Walkman with the.
No, it was black. It was very, very cool looking thing. With the graphic. But so what I did, I used to listen to albums, and as soon as I put the Walkman on and the headphones, I was off in that world. And because you listen to the order of an album was something that everyone thought about. So I used to play the order of the album. So it'd be like playing a set. Fast forward to your favourite tracks. You would play ballads. You would do the journey of the whole set. So in my garage, I'd go from playing Raised on Radio to Physical Presence to who was I going to mention earlier? There's a band. Little River Band, to some of the Eagles, to It Bites, to Toto, to Fool's Gold. So there's all sorts. I used to play the whole records, and you're right. I was basically looking at some really cheap MDF wood that my dad had made this booth, and I could play till 6 o'clock. When I closed my eyes, I was playing in front of lots of people, playing with these bands. And,
so, as a backing musician, I talk to a lot of backing musicians about establishing trust with their boss, and like how important that is. Like, do you feel like your relationship with Robbie at this point is, after you've been playing with him for so many years, have you established the ultimate trust where he can absolutely count on you as a backing musician?
With that, yeah, I feel like he does. He doesn't even think about it, because he just knows
it's there.
Yeah, rock solid.
How long did that take to establish that level?
Well, it's in Robbie's band there's an MD. There's been a couple of MDs, but first I think you've got to have the respect of the MD and know that he can trust you, and you're in the driving seat, especially with clicks that are moving and tempo mapped. And also I think the biggest thing with someone like Robbie is that watching for endings, because he can be down the other end of the ego ramp and wave a mic stand to finish, or move his hips or something. He's entertaining an audience. So I just make sure I'm there to back him, or if he looks for a nod about where we are, or some part of the song, or needs some kind of interaction. We've learned to do that over the years.
Wow,
I think now he knows I'm right behind him, which is my job.
That's awesome.
Same with James Blunt. James Blunt's no click tracks. James Blunt music moves with emotion. Choruses slow down sometimes. Dynamics or if he wants to, I just know his body language now. So if he wants something kicked up a bit, or if it feels like he needs a bit more energy, I know the signals, and that stuff develops over years. But I definitely would say the artists I work with feel like they can count on me. I guess that's why I'm still doing it.
Yeah, it's so important to have that trust.
It is, and everyone makes a mistake the odd time. I pride myself on not making mistakes. I hate, if technology forces an error, then there's nothing you can do. But
when you make
at the level we're touring at, I don't think there's room for many mistakes. Really, you shouldn't really. You shouldn't
do them.
Super switched on. If you play football for your country, I always use football because I love football, but you should pride yourself on not giving the ball away.
Got it.
You get punished quick. But it's
the crowd.
Your job is there to back the artist, and that's what I take pride in doing that, and also giving energy levels off. They turn around for 2 seconds and get feed off you, then that's also an important factor.
Energy level, controlling the energy level.
Yeah,
do you have this? I talked with Mark Schumann about this sort of hyper awareness of everything that's going on the stage. And can you feel like the energy's low? Maybe the crowd, it's a Tuesday night, the crowd's quiet, the energy's low, and you feel like you have got to pump it up yourself. Can you do that?
Oh, yeah, you can. There's ways of doing it. I mean, even on a stadium level or a small venue level, or whatever, you can feel a Monday night if it's raining and it's down on the south coast. You might want to jig the set around, or if it's a theatre-based thing, the audience are being told to sit down all night, and every time they try and get up, someone with a suit on tells them to sit down. It's like, you do things to try and G it up or mix it up. And the guys I work with, fantastic entertainers that have got created longevity in touring because they're good at what they do. They know how to work the crowds, they know what to say, and they've got a bag of songs that everybody knows. So.
Right. Cool. So, can you just talk a little bit about your work with Feeder in the start of the 2000s? They were a really big band back then, right?
Yeah, I still have a massive place in my heart for Feeder, and we still record together. We did Generation Freak Show. We did Electric, Albright Electric, which I think is my favourite record I've ever done with those guys because of the sound and the songs. I did Grant Nicholas's solo record, which was called Soulmates, which was fantastic. That's a really good album. And then we've just done The Greatest Hits has just come out, and we did a sort of album that's joined to that called Arrow. So we've done a lot of music, and I've done some great touring with them. And my last live gig was Isle of Wight Festival 2 years ago. We headlined the second stage, and it was great. It was fun. I'll never forget coming off stage because Finn was with me that night. And we came off at midnight, and I was soaked, which I always am. And we sat in the dressing room, and he just put his head on the chair and he went, "Daddy, that was amazing." And I was like, "Yes, I've impressed my son."
Yeah, cool. Cool. So listen, why do you play Gretsch drums? I have 2 more questions, and that's the second one.
Okay, well, I play Gretsch because I love the vintage sound. Broadcaster's been my favourite kit so far because it has that.
You've tried them all?
Yeah, I've got a USA. I love the USA. I love the projection and the quality of the kits. They sound phenomenal. I don't think there's anyone to touch them. They've got massive heritage and history. I feel sort of quite honoured to be playing such a brand that's been around more than me. The drum history, who they've had on their books, who's played Gretsch. I mean, I can't say too much, but some of my heroes I know play Gretsch in the studio. I just love the drums, and I've been with Gretsch now. It's got to be getting on for. It's over 15 years.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That long, huh?
Well, they came to Arbiter. They were distributed by Arbiter when I was with Sabian, and I was fortunate enough to get a renown, and then went on from there. And the USA is fabulous. I use that in the studio quite a lot.
Okay, cool.
I've got 2 broadcasters now. One on Blunt and one on Robbie. And with Feeder, I was using the new Classic.
Okay.
So I've tried them all, and they all work in different, wonderful ways. So they're just great sounding drums. They're, put Emperor coatings on those toms, nothing to touch them. And now having the 14 kicks, I prefer those because I get more of the vintage sound.
Okay.
But I'm using a P3 on the 24, a P4 on the 22.
Okay.
Just for that different sound. That's more open. That's more rock. It's solid. So
cool.
This is great. I mean, I've got no reason to listen to any of the drums.
Yeah.
So I'm just happy, and Gretsch sound has become my sound as well.
Well,
And
on behalf of the Gretsch family, we're happy that you're playing them.
I can't thank you all enough. Fred's always retweeting and posting stuff, so
Oh yeah, we love you, man.
I feel a lot of love